I am Kavita Bahal.
And I am Kizelle Jackson.
And welcome to the Live Wire. Kizelle, what is the latest in the Caribbean region?
Unfortunately, we start with some sad news, Kavita. Barbados is shocked and saddened by the passing of its longest-serving Prime Minister at the time of his death, Owen Arthur. The island at present grieves. You know, Kavita, Mr. Owen Arthur, he served from September 1994 up until January 2008. So he was in fact the longest standing Prime Minister on the island up until his death. And turning our attention to Guyana, finally some good news.
Yes.
Guyana have finally sworn in their 9th executive president, Dr. Irfaan Ali. And Kavita, it is hurricane season once again. However, Antigua still has not recovered from the destruction and devastation of Barbuda, and the local government claims that it has been the first time in 300 years that Barbuda remains uninhabited because they just cannot afford to repair Barbuda at this time. What is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, Kavita?
We are here with Mr. Philip Alexander, the leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And Mr. Alexander, there is a saying that an election is not based on leadership, it is based on the next generation. Can you shed some light on that?
I love that saying. I can't say I've ever heard it, but I know that that's what government is for. Government can't deal with the past, it can only take it to the future. We need change that removes the hands of the contract mafia from this country's treasury, so that the money that is actually spent at budget time will get to the people that it was supposed to get to, and not to high houses on high hills.
I realize you have real court clothes. I don't have any. I'm just in black today.
But
I hear you say the mafia. But my question to you is, Trinidad and Tobago is more of a bipartisan. It's either you see through the lens of the yellow or the lens of the red. Usually a third party is usually chewed up and spit out. Do you think that there's a possible hope for this third party? I mean, 2020 saw a lot of changes. This was a year of evolution and maybe a little bit of revolution as well. Do you think that you have a chance in this race? Do you think that you are that dark horse?
I hard to chew, you know. I like that meat when you buy beef. You know, they have called silver skin. You can't chew that at all. I see silver skin in the politics. If you say third party, just get chew out and chew up and spit out, nobody ain't spitting me out. I'm telling you. The Progressive Empowerment Party has changed the national conversation. If I put money in the bank, and I'm not touching my money, all my money is to the bank, besides equity to them, that they could use to make more money, is a line item on a spreadsheet.
But you know,
it's a line item, and I just want to finish this thought because it's a line item on a spreadsheet. So it doesn't cost $25 a month or $30 a month to maintain a line item on a spreadsheet a day.
But hear this, I'm hearing you, but you know, prior to entering government, we hear a lot of well wishes and great talk. But entering into politics and entering into government, you realize that you're not in control.
Mama, I'm doing this 26 years now. I'm doing this 26 years now, and I never thought I'd get into politics. I've been a social and political activist. I've written millions of words. I've fed the homeless. I made feeding the homeless in Trinidad fashionable. I've gotten disabled
so
parking.
So you consider yourself as a philanthropist then?
I'd consider myself as a Trini with a heart.
Mr. Alexander, we're in a time right now where COVID-19 is at a great increase, and many citizens are living in fear. I saw that you were advocating the postponement of elections 2020 for at least 3 months. And there are certain concerns involving risk, participation, and of course, democracy. Can you shed some light on that?
We campaign, and we make sure that when we campaign and with social distancing, I talking to people from across a pavement. So I'm not even stepping on the pavement to come to you, especially the old people, because they're the ones most likely to be home and to come out, and they're happy to see you. And they want to talk. And I say, moms, uncle, I can't hug you up, I can't kiss you, because this is how it is. It's social distancing, right? Nobody trusts the government in Trinidad. Not even the government trusts the government in Trinidad. That's why governments collapse, because they sell each other out and they end up in infighting and bacchanal. If you don't trust the government, then you need elections observers to come and make sure that what's going on. I read today in the papers that a smaller party didn't get the correct symbol on the thing. The process on the ballot paper, the process to get gazetted should instruct the EBC that this is the man's symbol. And he went through all the work. His name is Nikolai Edwards, the Progressive Party in San Fernando. And if Nikolai went through all of the work, because everything in Trinidad and Tobago is bureaucracy and incompetence and mismanagement and things get lost. So you take the year that it takes to have it done, they come back to you, you go back to them, they come back to you, until they finally agree, and you agree, and everybody say, yes, this is our symbol. You don't have to go on elections nomination day to make sure they remember. It's the same ABC.
All right, so you're raising two issues.
No, I'm raising multiple issues. It is I who went
Yes,
to
now,
the...
wait. Let's control this. Let's go with the first one. You said to me just now that you are for the postponement. I am for that, because I am yet to hear politicians say that they're going to put the people first rather than politics first, right? Because it seemed like though there's a political ego.
And
I
public
sat
health.
here and we spoke to many politicians, and no one said that let us postpone election and let us put the people first, because we are at risk. And with this campaign culture, I know naturally the Trinidadian culture is a jam and wine. This is a road march on the road, sometime behind the big...
You see nomination
and
day?
I saw what was
You
going
see
on.
nomination day? That was insane. And they tell me that when they said that they're relaxing the restrictions for nomination day, I said, well, all you're obviously in a conversation with COVID-19. And COVID-19 has said to you that if you engage in carnival activity for these 2 days, we are infecting nobody.
And our public health too
No,
is
because
most
another day,
important at this point in time.
They say that the cricketers living in a bubble in the hotel. So I want to know if the people who working in the hotel that's serving them, knocking on the door, handing them their food, or whatever it is, if they're in the bubble too. And as long as we can get through the day, and it's like we get beat for so long that we just want to get through the day. Father in heaven, and make it tonight. That's how Trinis live.
You almost sound like a pastor there.
My mother would love that you said that, because that's what she wants for me. She says, son, let us tend to the flock. I want to say this.
But maybe this is your start.
This is my calling.
Yes.
This is my calling. And there is somebody, for everything I tell people, there was a Jesus, but there was a John the Baptist.
You know something? I might be sitting here, may not directly be in this particular chair, but sitting and talking to you. When you become a pastor, when you open a church and you'll talk about the PEP,
You
and when
talk
we
about
started
that.
and when we had the first interview.
Sister, I want to
Yes.
tell you, but don't serious today. You know, every time you're talking to church, everybody's brother
Yes,
and sister.
you, Mr. Alexander. I must say this was a very, very enlightening
I enjoyed
conversation.
it. I enjoyed
And
it.
I say to you, well, I don't say good luck. I don't believe in luck. So let the will of God.
I telling you, before you leave here, we signing all you have to talk. All you talk like Peppers. I love how you talk. And Peppers are people who want a better TNT. That's the whole job, the whole mission. Thank you all very much for including me in your outreach and in your program. I appreciate this very much. And I look forward to more of these conversations.
And thank you, Mr. Alexander, for being a part of the Live Wire.
We are in the heart of the political rally with a Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Attorney General, Mr. Faris Alwari. And Mr. Faris, I'm going right into it. Well known as the Superman of the PNM, the People's National Movement, maybe because of his physical appearance or political performance. However,
like
you
that
did a superhero move with the demonetization of the currency. And now there was what? 8 billion. Yet still only 7.5 was claimed. So
Correct.
where is the next 500 million?
Well, according to rumors on the ground, Kamala Prasad Bisesa has some questions to answer, because I'm told, not she herself, far be it from the truth, the fact is that our intelligence tells us on this campaign trail that people are being invited to accept money from other political parties that are old cotton notes. And they're being told that there will be a remonetization, which is at law impossible.
But as a litigation attorney, let us focus on what you have done. There were how many? 12 courts. That these courts are now in the jail, so there's no transportation of prisoners. Now you're saving us money.
$25 million a year.
But you did about 11 HGCs, yes?
San Fernando West has 25,000 odd people. We have 11 HTC communities. 8,500 people live there. And I am the only MP in San Fernando's history to deal with the renovation and fixing of our communities in all 11 communities at the same time.
In all fairness, I don't want the viewers to say that I'm infatuated with you. So I'm giving you all the good treats. However, yes, you have done so much, but yet still, can people get faster housing? Because yes, there are 11, but there are still people waiting on that list, and that list seems so long because it's slow.
So let me be precise, as I always am. There are 173,000 people asking for HTC homes. There are 250,000 families living in squatting. If you go to the squatting communities and you treat with the most vulnerable, the invisible, you're invisible because you don't own the land. You're invisible to the bank, you can't mortgage it. You're invisible to your family because you can't give it. You get to your squatting communities, you make them visible. You build homes with dignity and you tenant the lands, meaning you give them a lease to the lands. To solve the HTC demand, you're now removing squatting demand. You then get to the HTC communities. In San Fernando, we are building in San Fernando West alone 1,000 homes.
And what would you say to the people who are saying, yes, it is politics, and yes, they're seeing you on the streets?
Yeah,
but other than that, it's like there's a separation between you and the people, because the people is probably thinking that they're not getting enough of you. There's somehow a disconnect somewhere that is taking place. Yes, the people love you, but there's some little level of disconnect. Are you looking at that as a way to improve? Because we all have our faults, we all have our good aspects, but there is some level of disconnect, Mr. Alwari. Would you say that?
There is always a level of disconnect with some parts of your society, because people say cut, but don't cut me. They say fix, but fix me first. They say do, but don't do that to me, do it to someone else. So in San Fernando West, which is my priority, 25,000 odd people, I've now explained to you nearly half the constituency being addressed. The other half of the constituency says, where is my development? Where are my jobs? How do I move from underemployed or unemployed to providing for my family? That's where the San Fernando redevelopment kicks in. Now you asked why now? Is this politics? You don't get a certificate of environmental clearance in a month or a year. It took us 2.5 years to get those certificates. It took us 2.5 years to do the procurement, award the contract, have the loan financing, and arrange the structures. Our housing and squatting development started in 2016. Our HTC development started in 2016. What only started now was a panicked UNC saying, Faris not there. No. Faris has been in the parliament with 536 laws, rules, regulations, orders, breaking all records. Faris has been in his constituency, making invisible squatters become visible to the bank and to their families by way of inheritance and fixing lives in 11 HTC communities. But let's go on to now the rest of the connection. San Fernando Magistrates Court, 75,000 square feet, Sutton Street, Irving Park, under construction. San Fernando Family Court, the Sisters of Cluny Convent on the Promenade. The development of Plaza San Carlos, which is at the wharf, 3.8 hectares.
The waterfront.
I'm on the waterfront now. The wharf is at the waterfront, sorry. So the wharf development, Plaza San Carlos, the fishing port, under construction. 1,002 car park, San Fernando General at the waterfront. 14 acres of PTSC bus yard. Hafiz Karamat Company Limited, they have that project. $710 million investment. 4-lane road widening at the port. Connection of Rushwood Street, connection of Sutton Street, Skinner Park development, HTC 241 homes. Right across from here, just behind us, Carlton Lane redevelopment, 11 HTC community redevelopment, Marabella A school underway, Marabella B school underway. And therefore you have tons of development, which means what? Jobs, sustainable jobs, permanent jobs. We have added 1,000 jobs to the judiciary in my tenure alone. 1,000 jobs. We have 1,000 more jobs to add. So for me, it's quite simple. Your right choice, sustainable future. The right choice does not involve sunshine curing COVID. The right choice does not involve raiding the UTC and raiding the NIB. The right choice does not mean saying, hey, 50,000 jobs. Come San Fernando West and we'll show you 15,000 jobs in San Fernando West alone.
And do you think that you can say the same for other members of parliament for the PNM? Because it seems to the majority, it's just about 5 ministers that are working and the rest are backbench. What would you say about that?
That's what our opponents will say. We are a well-oiled machine. To pass through first year 96% drop in revenue, to pass through the adjustments in Petrotrin in 2018, to pass through COVID and what has happened, without our society going through the panic that the rest of the world did, means we're doing a good job. All that is required is in 2020's general election on August 10th, put God in your thoughts, drive out what you call yellow cowardice, and just make the right choice. The right choice is who?
The big question is, Mr. Alrawi, who will win the West? What makes you so confident that you will win?
She's asking who will win the West. Folks, who will win the West? What's the name of San Fernando's West MP? Right, so these are the people in this community talking to you. It's not me. We didn't plan to come here this afternoon. You saw me in another part of the constituency. I left there to come here. The only reason that this can happen is that performance has to be a factor.
Mr. Alwari, let me ask you another question. Because the world at large is in a global pandemic. What is the future of Trinidad and Tobago after election? Yes, election is our focus right now, but couldn't we put partisan politics aside for the people of Trinidad and Tobago at this time in a crisis?
Yeah.
Would you think that this election polling at this time was a bit politicized, using the opportunity because yes, the Prime Minister handled COVID very well. The world can give praise to him for that. But do you think that calling election, yes, it may be the right political time, but is it the right time for the people of Trinidad and Tobago now?
So let's look at that. An election is due when? 2020. A budget is also due. For any government to be realistic in its planning, you have to allow room for a budget, right? So it was responsible for Dr. Rowley to call a budget into effect, for us to allow a government the room to have a budget cycle go on. So that's point number one. Secondly, politics is about being political. In every political election, you have to exercise politics.
So do you predict a change for this election? Because this is 2020. Do you predict a 2021?
You didn't allow me to answer the question that you asked, which is what to do with a COVID pandemic and how do we come out of it, and whether we put politics aside.
Yes, please.
To come out of the pandemic, you need a COVID recovery. The COVID recovery is largely driven by entrepreneurship and construction. To create a society, you have to create wealth. To create wealth, you have to have energy development and you have to have construction development. That's why San Fernando West is alit with all of this construction that is going on. In this structure, therefore, we will work our way out of COVID. In the COVID reality, you have two choices. On the yellow side, the sunshine will cure COVID and we will open borders. I've been to court 17 times. All of their opportunities inside of there, and we've got costs against them. So you got the yellow side telling you, open borders, Lego Ian Allen, you all remember that? Yes. Set Ian Allen free. Why? He was COVID positive. On the PNM side, we say, look, exercise responsibility, manage your borders, maintain your structures. So for me to come out of COVID, there is only one choice. Vote the...
Well, I guess the people have spoken today. We are right here at Nabat Road and coming out here to support their Member of Parliament for San Fernando West. Yes, this is the Honorable Mr. Faris Alwari, and we say to you, thank you.
We are here on Nelson Street in Port of Spain with Mr. Fuad Abubakar, the leader of the New National Vision. There is a saying, Mr. Abubakar, that the most potent weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And many people find themselves backed into a corner or oppressed, whether it be psychologically, politically, emotionally, or economically. Can you shed some light on this?
Sure. If you just look around at the surroundings of Port of Spain, the constituency in which I will represent, you would see the neglect straight in your face. You would see on the faces of the children the desire for better. You would hear in the words of the people of Port of Spain disgust with the neglect that has transpired for so long. So I am here now to make a change for Trinidad and Tobago, and of course for Port of Spain South.
Mr. Abubakar, do you think that there are enough activities here that can make a difference to our youth, since our youth are the future of our society, that will keep them away from crime or criminal activities?
There are not enough activities, there are not enough jobs for the young who have come out of school. There are even not enough jobs for those elder people who are looking for sustainable employment to better their lives and to take care of their families. Port of Spain speaks for itself. Anybody who has eyes to see will look at this community and understand that change must happen.
And you know something you said earlier, Fuad, that they are not invisible.
See me!
I am a footballer.
I am a boxer. I am a basketballer. I am a soldier.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
I want people to envision this being converted into the future of Trinidad and Tobago. This becoming a modern, beautiful metropolis. This becoming the place in Trinidad and Tobago. This being rebuilt by the people of Port of Spain, and all the urban communities being rejuvenated, providing the employment for people to sustain their lives, providing the future gateway for Trinidad and Tobago. This dilapidated city, this neglected city, these people who have been forgotten, being the catalyst for a new future for Trinidad and Tobago. They always say that the block that has been discarded will become the cornerstone.
Yes.
And I will become the cornerstone for Trinidad and Tobago politically.
It almost feels as though I get the embodiment of a Malcolm X in you. When you said that you are the voice of the downtrodden, you are the voice of the poor, you are the voice of the oppressed. See me. And we are all seeing them. And you are what?
A footballer.
Go. And who are you?
A boxer.
Go. And who are you, my son?
A basketballer.
Go. And who are you?
A soldier.
Yes, go. And this could be our children. And when you see them, you don't see another gunman, you don't see another criminal, you don't see another stereotype. We do not turn another blind eye because these are our children. Thank you, Fuad.
Thank you very much.
We are with Mr. Austin Jack Warner, a political heavyweight who in 2015 bowed out of active politics. But within recent times, we saw his return to the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Warner, it is our pleasure, first of all.
Mine as well.
Yes.
Right.
And my first question I must ask you, what imbued you to enter back into the landscape of politics?
Well, to be honest with you, I thought I had gone into the sunset of my political life and I would relax, watch some cricket on TV, play some offers with my friends, go on a river line, and generally do those things that guys my age do when they're relaxing. But when I saw that the People's National Movement had put a candidate in my constituency who lives in Marval, some 30 or 25 miles from where we live, doesn't know anything at all about the constituency. And the UNC put one who lost, ignominiously in 2007. I felt that both parties had taken us in this constituency for granted. Both parties believe you could put a crapper or some doubles in this constituency and people will vote for it. That must change. And I felt that I must be the catalyst for that change because this constituency has been neglected for eons, for decades. And I say enough is enough.
And do you think, Lupino Bonnie, that you're representing at present, do you think that they're going to move away from this bipartisan politics? Because it is almost as though the entire Trinidad and Tobago is polarized. They either see through the lens of the yellow or the lens of the red. Do you think that Trinidad and Tobago is ready for this political change?
There are two reasons why I think so. In the first case, there is so much hopelessness, so much youth unemployment, so many problems about roads and bridges and garbage disposal. There are so many issues in this constituency that I believe they are fed up and they say enough is enough and they decide to go with a party or a person who they believe can best represent their interests. But more importantly, if the reception which I have received from visiting house to house for the past 3 weeks, if at all one were to gauge by the reception I received, one will say most convincingly that they have moved away from the bipartisan two-party politics. I want to say, however, if that is not the case, then they have to be good actors, all of them, and should be in Hollywood, because the response has been anything but fantastic.
We see people doing political campaign, we see them giving support, but does that mean that they are actually going out and vote for that party?
Well, the taste of the pudding, in my case, the taste of the pudding would be the eating.
Are they just opportunists?
I don't think so. I think they are, in my particular case, I think they are genuinely concerned about their welfare, about their future, about their children. Our Prime Minister went to Ghana, and when he came back here, what did he say? He said that he is going to import yam from Ghana. We have so many idle acres of land in Trinidad and Tobago, where young people can be given lots of land to plant, to grow food and so on, to make this constituency self-sufficient, or even the country, and they could export yam, as it were. But he goes to import yam and leave the land, say idle, people unemployed. Another thing too why it's got me angry, in Ghana, you have a youth employment agency. It was formed in 2016. It's the most progressive in the world. And we have failed to copy that. And therefore, I have decided that I will replicate that in this constituency and make sure that our young people are taken care of.
What are your visions, Mr. Warner, for the citizens or your constituents in the Lupino Bonnet area if selected?
Well, I believe that there are so many problems here that if selected, and if selected along the lines I predict, then I think that my voice and my vote shall be very decisive in bettering, in making the lives of these constituents here better.
Do you think that the legacies of slavery still lingers on mentally? That the black society see agriculture, or there's an association between agriculture and low class or agriculture and the stigmatization of slavery?
I would have said so a couple of years ago if agriculture had not been the success it is today, the kind of money spinner it is. And because of that, anybody who believes what you have said is looking for an excuse of not being able to be productive. Slavery, I mean, after 200 years plus, if we still use slavery as an excuse for our indolence and almost our impotence, then something has to be wrong with us here.
And Mr. Warner, within recent times, I read that you said, and you are the only politician that said this, I look at you as a philanthropist as well, who said that you're willing to work for $1.
That's right.
We are in an economic crisis. Well, the world at large, and Trinidad and Tobago, well, a microcosm of the greater world. But this is nothing that you just say, because some years ago, you were actually working for $1.
That's right.
Do you think that this is being overlooked by the public? Do you think greater emphasis needs to be put on what you are saying that you will do? Because there's no politician throughout our history that came forward and said, listen, you're basically saying, I am willing to work for you, the people, for free.
I go further than that. I take office every morning up to now at 4 a.m. I go to bed between 10 and 11 if I'm lucky. And I see everybody who comes to see me, I mean from wherever they come, I see them. Not only my salary is $1 per month, as it was 5 years ago, and I had, for 5 years, I got $60. But I consistently refuse to purchase any tax-free car because I'm a minister or a member of parliament, and then in 2 years' time sell it to somebody else. That's the kind of racket they do. I have bought 7 cars in the last 5 years. I've bought 4 of them while I was in parliament, and not one of them was tax-free. And I propose to do the same thing here this time around.
But some viewers who may be watching and some supporters of both the PNM and UNC will think that we here on the live wire, probably we are morally bankrupt to listen to corruption from you.
Yep.
Who have to understand that a man is only guilty when he's proven guilty, and we are not judge, jury, and executioner. Mr. Warner, do you think that this country, Trinidad and Tobago, will only appreciate you when you pass away?
Well, that's the style, that's the habit. When I see Patrick Manning died, I see Dr. Rowley come forward and make a speech on Patrick Manning and how, of course, he was a great man and blah, blah, blah. I was there. I felt to puke because Patrick Manning's demise, in many ways, is because of Dr. Keith Rowley. If they give me encomiums or praises when I die, I wouldn't even hear them. But if I could have heard them, I would buy them. Sorry about that.
Yes. Mr. Warner, we are looking at a 2020, and this is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Remember years ago, every year we were hearing about Patrick Manning 2020 vision, and we are about to see this vision unfold. Now you're saying 2020 and 1.
That is right.
With that one seat, Mr. Warner, it can make the difference.
Absolutely.
That one seat could actually carry you to prime ministerial position.
I'm aware of that. It happened in St. Vincent, right? But I'm not seeing anything. I'm keeping my cards close to my chest. And I'm saying to the public and to my constituents, when the time comes, not if, when the time comes, I'll come back to them for some kind of guidance. To them, and the party's executive. And however they guide me, there I shall move.
Mr. Warner, we thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're finished already, man. After all, I'm not getting heated, man.